It's you and me, no place I'd rather be. Ding dong, hello, let's make this house a home.
Welcome to Spencer and Sarah's house. We're back again.
Like we never left.
Yes. We're not wearing the same clothes. No.
Yeah, my hair's down. It's a whole different day.
Yeah, it's darker in my room, so.
It's brighter in mine.
How are you, Spencer?
You're okay. I just had some hummus and some carrots, so that was great. I bought some sparkly snacks, if you catch my drift, that I'm excited to maybe try today.
Sparkly
And
snacks?
Can we talk about weed on here?
Oh, I'm sure. I think it's up to us if we want to. I've never heard sparkly snacks.
Got some edibles.
Nice.
And I went to Walgreens to get an eyelash curler, and I came across this journal that has like a zippy pouch.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's for, but I'm really excited about it.
Hell yeah.
Created this on my notes journal, so I'm really. This is my problem though. I'm like if I was a dragon, this is what I would hoard. Like journals I half write in and then buy another one. You know what I mean?
So true. Yeah.
So
relatable.
Yeah, I got to just drive my car around today for a while, and then that's it. That's my day.
Nice.
What about you, Sam? What are you?
I'm good. I'm doing this week, I'm traveling to Glasgow for work, which I'm really excited about.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, we do like a yearly party at like we have different centers around the UK. And so our company like hosts a party. I think it's like for us and like the freelance actors that work for us. And we host a party in those areas so they can go and like celebrate what we've done for the year. So the head office is like invited to all of them. So I'm going to Glasgow for the one because we have a center in Scotland. So I'm going to go see our center there because I haven't been there yet, and then spend like a day in Glasgow working, but I'll be in a different city working.
That's so cool. What the heck?
I'm
How
excited.
far is it from you?
I think it's about a 6-hour train ride.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
not
not
bad.
bad. Yeah, so I'll spend a day traveling. The next day I'll see our center. Then the next day I'll be in Glasgow and then travel back the next day.
God, that's so cool.
Hmm.
I am jealous.
I'm excited. It'll be fun.
Hey, I'm excited for you. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Absolutely.
Will that be your first time in Glasgow?
Yeah, so I've been to Edinburgh. I went in the spring, so now it'll be Glasgow. I'll scope it out, see what it's like. Mm-hmm.
So cool. I really want to travel more.
It's really expensive to do it in the States as well. Like it's in the UK, it's so easy to do it, but in the States, it's like so hard.
I know it's either like a shit ton of money on a plane ticket or you spend like 8 days in the car.
Yeah.
I do kind of want to take this train though that goes from like California to Chicago. I feel like that'd be really cool. You could just
Yeah.
like chill on the train and that'd be fun.
That does sound fun to like just like play video games for forever. Sounds really nice.
Yeah. I can't stand flying. It freaks me the fuck out.
Mm.
And tried it so much. So I'm like trying to find alternate ways of getting around, but they all take days.
Yep.
Oh man. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And so what are we talking about today?
We are going to be talking about like childhood TV shows that were like queer coded and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Mhm.
I actually struggled a bit with this because I feel like it was more like queer coded characters for me as
Mhm.
opposed to like a whole show being queer coded.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think like also like when we were growing up, that wasn't like having like the show as a whole being like a queer show just didn't really exist.
No, not really. It's funny, a lot of like I still love like animation and cartoons and stuff like that, and a lot of the shows I've watched now that came out as I was an adult are a lot more like openly have openly queer characters or things like that, and I live for them because I'm obsessed.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah, mine was mostly like just crushes on cartoon characters.
Oh yeah, that's how it starts. I remember when Meet the Robinsons came out, I was obsessed with Will the Robinson. Weird.
Love that.
That was like the first one I could think of.
I feel like one of my first crushes was Lady and the Tramp too.
What do you want to say?
I had a crush on Angel.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that movie. So good.
It's so good. They go scamp, scamp.
And that's the dude who plays Max Goof all the time. It's the voice of Scamp.
Oh, it is. That's why it sounded familiar.
Yeah. I'm really weird about voice actors. I'm like, where have I heard you from? I think my first like realization of like being bi and having those, like crushes and whatnot was probably The Mummy.
That's a classic. Yeah.
Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. Holy shit, that was quite the awakening.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in terms of like coming up with stuff I watched as a kid, I actually struggled with this a little bit. Like I can think of a bunch of stuff now.
Yeah.
I don't know. What'd you come up with?
My big ones was like Raven from Teen Titans.
Ooh, as a queer coded character?
Yeah. Or at least I just had a big crush on her, but I feel like when I look back now, I'm like, no, I can definitely like see it.
Spill the tea, Sarah. What? Ew.
I could definitely see like Beast Boy as being like Pan as well. So he gives off that vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just struggle. But it's funny because like I can recognize when that started to change. Like I feel like She-Ra was one of the first ones where I was like, that's like that one was really good.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah. Owl House, obviously. Special place in my heart. Even Universe too started off very queer coded, and then I think really became that way, which was awesome. But I love that one. That was probably actually the first one I can think of where I was like, hey, wait a minute, like this is like a metaphor. So good.
Yeah, I feel like the first like show overall that I watched that like had queer characters was Pretty Little Liars, and they had like one of the characters was gay. I was like, I feel like the first time I ever watched like on screen like two like same gendered characters have a relationship.
Yeah. Wow, I can't even think. I think Modern Family was probably one of the first ones I can think of where that was like a major, like these like characters are gay, their husbands, they have kids together. Like it was like that was huge.
Yeah, for a sitcom too.
Yeah, especially for a sitcom. Oh my God. And the fact that like everyone was just kind of like, yeah, this is normal. That was so awesome and new. I feel like paved the way for sitcoms a little bit, and just like not taking it so like seriously. Like I think it's
Yeah.
like Brooklyn Nine-Nine with like Rosa coming out,
Mhm.
Captain. It was just it wasn't like a huge deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like before that, it was like it's this big gigantic thing that's happening, and it's like the main source of conflict. It's like now it really doesn't feel that way anymore, which is like so nice. It's just like
Yeah.
not anxiously being like, oh god, what's about to happen?
Definitely.
Wow, wild. But yeah, it's like funny. I really can't think of a lot of shows where like that it really like hit me where I was like, oh yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's more like looking back now where I go, oh, I was definitely like it definitely had crushes that I didn't realize were crushes.
Yeah. Well, it's just nice to see like how like queer characters and queer stories are so much more mainstream and are like presented in ways again where it's not just like, oh, it's a bad thing or like we're in conflict now. It's just that's how this person is and we're not worried about it.
Mhm.
Just move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it feels off now if there aren't like queer characters in a show or a film that's like new. Because then it's like, what is this? Who's telling the story?
Exactly. Yeah. It's interesting too. Like, I feel like there's still quite a ways to go though. Like, Owl House is the first one I can think of where it was, well, Steven Universe kind of did this too, but it was Steven Universe Future. It was like the first non binary character introduced. Like, I was like, I would never imagine this in a million years. Like, this is so cool. And it's just not even, they really don't even really acknowledge it unless they have to address that person, then just use they, them. And like, I never even thought about it. Like, it's just like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Was there, it's either in She-Ra or Kipo that they also had a non-binary character. I forgot which one it is, but they're like the snake themed. Are they like a snake?
I can't remember.
They're green. That's all I can remember. But I don't remember which show it was. I think it was She-Ra.
It could be either, honestly.
They were like a deceptive, like, I think they could like throw their voice or something, and they can like change who they were.
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, I think it could be either show because there's like anthropomorphic individuals involved.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it's from.
Yeah, but Kipo, man, Kipo's good too. That was another one where I was like, wow, this is just like a thing, and it's so cool. Kipo's a good show too, but
so good.
Yeah, it's interesting to like watch cartoons come out now, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Great.
That was like watching Luca. Did you ever watch Luca?
Oh, I watched Luca. Yeah.
That was good.
Oh, so good. I actually just started rewatching it the other day because I was like, I watched like the first 10 minutes, so they got recommended to me on YouTube, and I was like, I need to just watch this again. Like, oh, so good. But yeah, I like how it's. I just feel like that's always the part that was the hardest to watch, though. Whenever there was a queer character in the shows, it was always like a sense of a point of contention. You know, either someone is like upset about finding out and they're not friends anymore, or like there's this whole like anxiety of it, you know, leading up to it. Whereas now, like, that's not the point or the purpose of having a queer character anymore. It's more just like also this character is queer. Like, it's, you know what I mean? They're not put in there to, I don't know. Not there's anything wrong with like putting forth that message, but sometimes it's hard, you know, to come out, and there are struggles that queer people face. But like, it's nice when it's not like that's the reason they're there, you know? They have a purpose outside of it.
Yes, that's like, it reminds me of like Heartstopper, and like when that came out as a Netflix show, and like it's so just like, it was like nice, like that was like part of the story of like coming out and stuff for one of the characters, and then it's like, but like there was so much more, and like seeing like everyone's stories kind of be told was so nice. it was interesting because I feel like there was like things that I heard of like people like criticizing like at least like the newest season was like people are saying like it's almost like too queer of like how are all these people like how do you have like a group of friends like that? But I'm like that's how queer friendships and community is. Like everyone around you is queer. Like that's just what it is. It's not like some like oddity. Like that's just what happens when you find your people.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the majority of my friends are queer or identify as some part of the LGBTQ community. It's just like, yeah, because we all find each other eventually. And it's just like, hey.
That's what looking back, my high school friends, every single one of them, every single one of my friends in high school, queer. And we didn't know it at the time. And I think that's hilarious.
I didn't really stay connected with a lot of my high school friends after high school, but I don't think a lot of them were. Maybe that's my maybe that's
Could be why.
I don't know. But it's weird too, like growing up and like not really like knowing why. Like being so unself-aware.
Mm-hmm.
I just talked about this with
Absolutely.
my mom. Yeah, it's just like so funny to me. Man, what a time.
Mhm.
But I feel like that's why I love seeing more queer characters and storylines nowadays. Like I've mentioned this show before on here, like Hell of a Boss. Like there are a lot of queer storylines in that, and they're all incredible. Um, and the other show that she does has an hotel on Amazon Prime. Like even though that's more for adults, but like it's just so heartening to see it because like I mean we weren't born in a time where it was necessarily like hey like you can't rah 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 be this way, but it wasn't accepted either. Like I mean gay marriage only became legal in like what 2016 or something like that 2018. And so like we grew up in this weird in between where it's like you kind of knew about queer people but it was still kind of like not accepted, whereas like nowadays I feel like it's just like yeah these people exist and we're like just human beings and it's fine. Like like it's obviously there's still kind of a long way to go, but
Mhm.
I think it's so important when shows utilize queer characters, even if it's just like not what am I trying to say? Even when it's just like this person is in the show and they're queer, like just having that is so important.
Yeah. I think like especially like when I was first um like realizing that I was queer and stuff and like especially like at that point where you're kind of like just like learning this new identity that you didn't realize you have and like all that stuff and like exploring that
Mm-hmm.
like I think finding like those were like really important moments of seeing that representation on shows. So like they had like someone who was Pan in Big Mouth or like in Schitt's
Mm-hmm.
Creek when David was talking about like his experience of like comparing sexuality to wines and all that stuff. Like I feel like those are like important things to be like, oh yes, like other people also feel this way and it's like a relatable feeling. I feel like that's like just really important for people that when they realize their sexuality.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, same. I feel like if it wasn't so, I just wonder how it would have changed things for me to have had more things to relate to like that readily available. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mhm.
Um, the biggest thing I used to watch when I was growing up was like anime, but when they had like queer characters in anime at the time, it was like not really it. Like it was just like I don't know what they were doing, but like sometimes anime can be like real weird. But now like a lot more like really lovely, sweet, relatable queer stories are coming through in anime now. I always tell everyone to watch Sasuke to Miino because it's incredible and like so perfectly done. But it's
Yes.
like yeah, so it's just like I love seeing this evolution everywhere in media in terms of like it doesn't have to be a big deal. It's just like
Yeah.
it's so nice, so refreshing. Owl House, I think, was the first time I ever felt that way, where I was like, oh my god, like this is just like happening and no one's acknowledging it. This is crazy, and I love it. Like
Yeah.
it's so cool.
It's great.
Yeah, so incredible. Uh, yeah, it is. I do wonder like how things would have changed or been different growing up if that was more. I keep saying mainstream. I don't know how to say it. You know what I mean? Like more. mobile in my daily life. I don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that way too about like I feel like comics are a lot better about that nowadays too. Like we were talking about Heartstopper. Have you read the Heartstopper comic? You have,
No, I
right?
haven't. Mm-mm.
Okay. You should have thought about it too. I'm very excited for the new season because I am caught up with the comic. It's way ahead of the show, and I'm like, oh my god, so many crazy things are about to happen. I'm so excited.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like the majority of comics we read are like queer comics that we recommend to each other, and the stories are so incredible and impactful. And again, it's like the focus is more on the journey, not necessarily on. I think sometimes what can be considered like the anxieties of being a queer person, like they just are, they just exist. Like Castle Swimmer, I think is a good example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think The Croakening will be too. I don't know. That's a new comic I just started and I told Sarah to read because it's
I've started it, yeah.
good. It's good.
It is.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just excited about where this is all going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know who's another queer coded character actually now I'm thinking about it is Bob from Bob's Burgers. It's always like talked about that he might be bi because of just certain things that happen. Yes.
That's so true.
Mm-hmm.
I've been rewatching that show recently. So
He's
yeah.
very bi coded to me.
He just seems like unbothered, like he's just like, yeah.
Yeah, I think the first time I thought about it was one of the Thanksgiving episodes where the turkey keeps ending up in the toilet, and then he's like having that conversation with the guy at the deli counter. He's like, "Who am I kidding? You're out of my league. I'll call you." And then little things like that happen throughout the show where I'm like, "Oh my god, what?" Like, love that.
That's so true.
So incredible. Yeah. But that's like the perfect. I love when shows are like that. They just kind of are like, "Here's this thing. Take it or leave it."
Absolutely.
Yeah. That new Harley Quinn show too, right? Harley and Ivy. I put that on my list a lot too because I keep seeing that everywhere.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard that one's good.
Yeah, and a lot of books coming out right now on Book Talk are a lot of like queer romance stories too. And I'm like, everybody's coming out of the woodwork.
That's the part. I think that's a pivot I need to make in my books as well because right now they're all very straight.
Yeah, I just finished Big Swiss by Jean Began.
Yeah.
Which was queer, but it was also like the weirdest story I've ever read in my life. It was so strange, but it was good. It's about like this woman. She's like a transcriber for a therapist, and so she doesn't know the patient's name. She just like gets the audio and has to type what she hears. She becomes like obsessed with this one patient of his. Oh my god, it's like the craziest book ever. But it was good. But yeah, that's the pivot I'm starting to make now too. So I'm like,
yeah.
Please.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what are some of your like favorite queer characters, like in general?
Favorite queer characters. My mind has just gone blank. Let me pull up a list so that I can think of my shows that I like.
Oh God.
My brain has just gone, what's queer? What's that?
Yeah.
Ooh. Sorry, I just saw Blue Eye Samurai and it got me excited.
Oh my God.
That's good. Even like sex education and
Oh yeah. Oh God, I forgot about that situation. That was so good. Yeah.
yes, I love. Oh, what are their names? Eric and what's his name? I want to say Kevin, but it's not Kevin.
You mean the Headmaster Squad? I can't say
Yes.
his name. Oh my
Eric
God.
and
What the fuck? The internet exists. The internet's a thing. I'm gonna lose it. I can't believe it.
It's Eric. What the hell is his name? Like, no name is matching him.
Adam.
Adam! Yes.
Kevin.
Yes. I love those characters. I think I love Eric because he's just like, from the start of the show, he's just gay. And and he's very much himself, and I love that so much. And then I love just Adam when he realizes that he's like queer, and he's just like I feel like he's just very gentle with himself about it, which I really enjoyed. Like, I just think that's just really cute, and I like him, like his story of exploring his sexuality a lot.
Yeah. That trope too is new to me. The like bullies to friends to lovers trope.
Yeah.
That's a new one. It's a new one. But it's been popping up a lot in my book talk recommends, and I'm like, what am I doing?
That's good.
So good.
Or have you ever watched Killing Eve?
Yeah, I watched the first season, I think. Yeah.
I found absolutely insane.
But I love her.
Love it so much.
She's so crazy. I live for it.
Yes. Oh my god, yeah. What else do I have? Just my mind has really just gone blank.
I know it's like hard because like it's like you said, like a lot of it you don't even think about until after the fact. Or if it's like really old shows, you're like, wow, I didn't really clock that growing up, or like, you know, I thought it, but now I'm like, oh hey.
Yes. Absolutely. I just feel like even when like even if like queer characters don't stand out, but like the show itself is like kind of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer was something I watched like 2 years ago, like absolutely obsessed. Or like Golden Girls. It's like phenomenal. Or like Grace and Frankie. I love Grace and Frankie, and that's how I imagine our future. It's
true. That or like the Mamma Mia movie. I always picture us somewhere like that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say for my 30th, I think I'm gonna do a Greece trip, and everyone is invited to come to Greece trip. So start saving up.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm so ready. Yeah, I'm trying to think about my 30th too. I'm like, what do I want to do?
It's time to Mamma Mia it out.
I can't believe we're gonna be 30 in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like ready, but I'm not.
Same. I think like I'm like excited to be 30, but then I look at like the choices and things I do in life, and I go, am I ready to be 30?
Totally. Tea for real. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm the same way. Something else I want to touch on too is I feel like drag really opened my world up big too, in terms of the queer community, and like seeing it, like look at the art that can be made here. Like everyone in Pose, I'm just like in love with. But like just that expression, I feel like freed me up so much. Like seeing people just be so unapologetically like, yeah, and this is, and what, like, look how amazing I was. Like it was awesome, because then that introduced me to like more stuff in queer culture, and so I just wanted to touch on that. Like I think that is like such a huge part of like exposure, you know, to the queer community as well. That's important. Yeah.
That's how I realized I was queer, is when you and I started watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and like just
Really?
yeah, literally, like we would watch so much of it, and I would just sit there and like watch everyone, and I'd be like, it was just, it like expanded my mind so much that I was like seeing like people who identified as like men, but like dressing up as women, and I was like, well, I'm attracted to that too, and then I was like, I think I'm just attracted to women, and then it's just fully expanded through that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely just like such a good segue into the conversation of like gender too, and like how you can play with it and identity, and it's that really it really expands my mind. And again, just like they make so many references in Drag Race to things. I'm like, that, like, what is this? So that it, like, having to go figure out what each reference was and like expanding my knowledge on queer culture, I was like, this is so cool. And like, yeah, so I just think it just, again, I think it all comes back to like it's so important to have this representation and be seeing it in media, and I live.
And now time for a break. Our breaks have a visual component that can be viewed on our YouTube channel.
Okay, so beyond the pride flag and the bi flag I have in my room, I have a few queer things I wanted to point out. I've got these RuPaul figurines that are so cute. I have this Juno Birch paws framed photo. And I've got some queer books on my shelf. Big Swiss, which was so weird and amazing, and The Song of Achilles, which is beautiful.
I'm gonna go through a little tour of my bookshelf on the queer/gay things I've got in here. So we've got a penis cactus that I crocheted. We've got some earrings that I've made myself for Pride Month. There's a few somewhere else over here as well. I've got a gay boob succulent that I made out of clay. And one of my favorite things I've got right now is a gay Tina Belcher. That's probably my fave. Oh, and I forgot I've got a gay and sparkly robin as well.
And now back to the podcast.
One thought I was having was have you ever seen the film Fried Green Tomatoes? Is that gay? Because I watched it as like a 7-8-year-old and I haven't seen it since, but like I think back and I go, I think this was a gay film that I saw as a kid, but it didn't register in my brain.
It is for real queer coded. Yes, because when I was visiting with the babies and we would just hold the baby and watch a movie all day, that was one of the movies we watched, and it is 100% queer coded. 100% between Iggy and God, what's her name? I can't remember. She was like the one who her brother liked, and then she had the baby, and she had to go rescue her from her awful husband. It's that girl. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I was like, we were like halfway through it, and I turned to my brother-in-law, and I was like, is this? We're about to see a sapphic romance? What? This is incredible. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Also, I just recently watched The Color Purple, and there is some sapphic romance in there as well. And I was like, what's going on? Like, hell yeah. And I watched The Birdcage.
I love The Birdcage. I
could not keep myself together. Like, every single time. Who is it Frank Azaria? Hank Azaria? What is his name? Who's in it? He plays like their like house boy. I don't know.
Yes, God. Yeah.
Yeah, when he kept slipping in those shoes, I like could not keep it. I was like scream laughing. I was like crying. It's so funny. God. And Brant and I have seen, my older brother and I have seen Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar like a million times, and we made our younger two siblings watch it.
I still haven't seen that one. No, I had it on my list because you recommended it, but I still haven't watched it.
I should. So good. Very, very heartfelt. And honestly, like, amazing, because it was like 3 people, like, at really the height of their careers, is like kind of, like in the mainstream media, straight men, and like for them to do a film, like, it was like Patrick Swayze, Leslie Snipes, and then Donna Guzamo are the 3 main drag queens. Yeah, and then for them to do this movie, it was like, whoa, like it's cool.
Hell yeah.
God, I love that
movie. Isn't like Beaches one as well? I haven't seen Beaches.
I don't know. That's on my list, but yeah, maybe.
I feel like I hear it referenced all the time, and like queer culture, but I haven't actually watched it, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either. It's definitely on my list though. Yeah, honestly, it's safe to say I haven't seen a lot of really good classic movies. My cousin and I have this list called like the list of movies that will change your life, and it's like some that are like considered like classics, like amazing movies. Like we have stuff like it's kind of a downer, but like Schindler's List, like movies like that, where it's like really prominent, important movies in culture, and then just like a lot of like really good movies we haven't seen. So we've like, been going through those, but like there's a lot of stuff on there like I just have never seen before in my life.
Yeah, I think like Practical Magic might be one as well. I don't know. Or it's more sisters, is it?
Yeah, they're sisters.
Yeah. Never mind.
I don't remember there being anything in there, but
I haven't seen it, so.
Oh, it's good. But yeah, they're sisters in it. It's not like that.
It gives me a vibe.
No, for sure. Definitely. But yeah, wow. There was so good. Wow. You would like it a lot actually. Think about it a lot. I think they're making a sequel too. I thought I read that somewhere or something like that.
That's funny. I used to listen to this podcast that would it was like a role-playing podcast, like similar to D&D, but it was like a different game. And they would pick a film and start from the beginning of the film, and like each person was a character, and then how they rolled the dice would actually control where the film went. So like it would be a completely different version of the film. And so I listened to the Practical Magic version of that, which was so good, and so now I'm like scared to watch the film because it won't be the same.
Oh my god. First of all, that sounds like an amazing idea.
It's great. It's so good.
Second of all, you'll still like Practical Magic. It's
Yeah.
good. This might be sacrilege to say, considering how much the women in my family love this movie, but it's good. There's just like sometimes I was like, what the fuck is happening plot wise? Like, so it's good though.
Right.
I wanted to ask, what do you think about when not shows, I guess, but when like classic stories are retold and queer characters are added, I feel like sometimes that's like a hot topic. But I'm thinking about it because Bridgerton's about to do that, so I'm like,
Oh yeah, I don't mind. I don't care. Like in the sense of like I'm not bothered by that. Like
yeah,
I think it comes from the perspective of like we make art and stuff to reflect the world that we see, and if what this thing isn't reflecting, then like we just need to change it, and like it's not that big of a deal if you change it. Like if Harry Potter was gay, that wouldn't change the plot of the story really.
Yeah, I think about it because when they did live action Beauty and the Beast and they made LeFou queer coded, everyone was like, why?
Oh yeah, because he had a crush on Gaston. I love that.
I think it makes sense.
I think sometimes like changing, like it just makes characters more interesting sometimes too, where it's like it actually gives like a story to someone than like being a side character. Yeah.
And yeah, like who fucking cares? That's just a hot topic right now with Bridgerton, so I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
And it also is queer coded.
Yeah.
But she has like openly queer characters. And I think that's what next season is gonna be.
Yes, yeah. So doing Benedict, aren't they?
Yes, but also I have not read the book, so I will just say I'm not spoiling anything. I don't think. Did you watch the most recent? Okay, for anyone who hasn't. At the end of the season,
yes,
Francesca and Kale Martin, he's like, "This is my cousin Michaela," and Francesca had that like look on her face that was like, "Oh." And I was like, what the fuck was that for? Because like we definitely didn't meet Michaela at all throughout the series. So I was like, who is this? Like, and I read that she is going to be like in the books, Michaela was Michael, but that one of the creators, when reading the books to make the show, was like, I feel like Francesca is very queer coded, like because of a lot of the struggle she goes through in the books. So she's like, I really want to make this a queer storyline, and I was like, oh, what? So I can't wait to see what's about to happen in the new season. But a lot of people were like, what the heck? And the author had to put out like I trust them, like we've been in talks, like as long as it's true to the story and like, you know, the emotions I was writing about them, like it should be fine. Like,
yeah. Literally, it doesn't change much.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, just wondering. Wanted to touch on that. I feel like people get so up in arms.
Definitely. How do you feel about when, like, just in media in general, and how, like, there's public figures who, like, I don't know, it's like when, like, public figures are, like, forced to come out because they're accused of, like, queer baiting and all that stuff. And then it's like they're forced to be like, well, this is like, or like they're still coming to terms with it, but like still making art in front of people, and like, but they feel forced to like come out in public and all that stuff.
I mean, it bothers me forcing anyone to. This is something I think about a lot. Like, just because someone has like a celebrity status, right? Their life is very much on display. It doesn't mean you're entitled to that display. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just as like we control what we post on our Instagram or like, you know, shit like that. I think it's the same principle. Like, no one's entitled to know things you don't want them to. Like, it's funny, like I've only come out to certain people in my family. I never made like a Facebook post or something like that to just be like, hey, you know, like this is always hanging. We talk about it on here because it's like, I don't know, the people I felt like I needed to sit down and tell, I did. And like from there, it's like, if I feel comfortable talking about it, I will. So it's like, I'm in charge of that, not you, you know? And so it bothers me because it takes away that power from that person, you know? And that's kind of happened to me in the past where that has happened, where people have come to know without me being the one to say it. And it's like, on the one hand, it's like, what am I going to do? It's not like I hide it, you know? But on the other hand, it's like, but if I wanted to sit down and have that conversation with you, I would.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it bothers me, especially in terms of like public figures, because it's like, I don't know. I just feel like you're not entitled to know that kind of thing, and you're not entitled to dictate when and how and if you find out either.
Yeah, I'm hoping that like we're going in this direction, because I feel like there was this big push of like the idea of like straight actors playing queer characters and stuff in film and media, and like I hope that we're moving in the direction where like we stop assuming that someone is straight and just kind of like mind our business.
Yeah,
like it's like a valid thing, but like I think it's like we need to put hope on actors doing the right thing of like taking the roles that they should take, or giving the roles space for someone else to fill it that should take it, without also having to like force someone to come out if they don't want to come out.
Yeah, and I feel like that issue is hard in general, because it's like, I don't know, maybe this is bad to say, but I think if you can understand a character's struggle and relate to it and you work to make it authentic, it wouldn't bother me as much. You know what I mean? But there are some experiences I feel like you just can't emulate, I guess, or like, you know, I think it's important, yeah, to leave space for maybe this person's queer, maybe they're not, you know, because we have seen actors in the past who are, as we believe or have been told, are not queer, but they play these characters in a way that feels authentic, but at the same time, it's like you also want to be giving space for people who connect with that and actually have lived that and are good actors and can like bring that story to life. But I think it just gets tricky. You know, you don't want to be outing somebody, but it's also like you want to make sure you're providing space for queer actors who can tell stories that, you know, are authentic and they relate to. And yeah, I hate this idea of like, we get to know, we have to know. Like,
Yeah.
You don't know what trauma that person's been through. Like, maybe they tried to tell people years ago and it went horribly, and now they're in the public eye because of their career. And it's like, well, no, I don't have to tell you shit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find out one way or the other, then you find out, but it's not yours to go spread, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's an interesting topic too, like straight actors playing queer characters and all that jazz and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a messy one.
It's messy for sure. But yeah, I think the heart of what we're talking about is no one is entitled to know anything about you. You don't want them to know, especially when it comes to like coming out. I feel like for me it was a little easier just because of like my family and like I feel like the times we're living in now, it's not as big scary wise. But that's also not the same for everybody. Not everybody has the same situation, so it's like you don't know, so why would you try to force that out of somebody, you know? That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chapel Roan talks about this a little bit too, with like writing her music. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, she's bi or she's a lesbian now or blah blah blah, you know, trying to put her in a box. And she literally talks in interviews how like she's exploring her queerness and like this is where she's at right now and like let it be. Like that's it. Like you don't have to know. You don't get to know. Like
yeah.
Oh God. I think that's really like a symptom of social media. Like everybody posts everything on there now, or they only post like what they want you to see. And so, but like people feel like you have so much access to someone's life now, so you're just like, of course I get to know this too. It's like,
yeah,
if I want you to know, if I want you to have that conversation with me.
Yeah. True.
That's rough.
I do love how like at least in my realm of like music at the moment, it's just a bunch of like queer women.
That's all.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
Like I never would have imagined. Never would imagine like on the radio that like just a bunch of music. I mean, I don't listen to the radio, so I don't know what's playing. But on my radio, it's just a bunch of queer women playing. I never would have thought I'd hear that.
Same, T. Yeah, it's like a lot of Kim Petras for me and Sam Smith and Troye Sivan and Chapel. Yeah, I'm really, really living for this era right now of music. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I think that's all I have to say. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I never countered and asked you how you felt about public figures having come out. Although I'm sure we think probably the same way.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think it's like, I feel like I come across like posts from like public figures where like they share or like they like talk or like if I come across and there's like I can't speak. Okay. There's been like 2 instances where I've seen like posts from like a celebrity being like, this wasn't anyone's business, but like now it's out. So thanks for that. And it's like really upsetting for them. And like it annoys me because I'm like, it like just isn't anyone's business. And like I understand the perspective of like this fear of people like capitalizing on this like queer identity and all this stuff and like how capitalism plays into all that. But like I just think when it comes to like people's identity, just let them be.
I agree. Yeah. I think that's probably really prevalent in acting too. Like we talked about, like straight people playing queer characters, people playing straight characters, like that whole so crazy and messy, and like I feel like that's who kind of gets it the worst is when it comes with that situation. Like, no, well, how do you identify then? You know, kind of deal, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
rough times.
Yeah, yeah, and like I guess it's like fair to like, I guess like when you take a role, people will ask you. Like I guess that's like it will lead to being asked about it anyway. But like,
Yeah,
I think there just needs to be a little bit more give and take and respect around people's boundaries.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Any public figures, really. I think it's like, yeah, just because someone's in the public eye, it doesn't mean you're entitled to know every fucking thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Especially something sensitive like that. That can be really traumatic sometimes.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I was watching an interview with Chappell Roan, and she just has been like recently really hammering like that what she does is a job. Like she's just performing music and it's a job. And I really hope that we start to follow that lead and that idea of like people are in the public eye, like they're just doing a job. After that, that's it. Like there's nothing else that they like you're gonna get. I think that'd be nice if that becomes the direction we go in.
I agree. I agree with that completely. And I love that perspective. This is a job. You know, I'm a musician. That's my job.
Very healthy, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. God, I love her.
Me too.
Totally
Yeah.
I really need her to release Subway so badly. Someone just released like what was that one she just did? Hold on.
Outlander?
Yes. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
what it's called, yeah. And they released like a high def version of her cover, or not her cover, of her performing Subway. And I was like, this is phenomenal. I need it now.
It's so good. Yep.
So good.
It's so
Really
good.
just like another album, but you know, I will
One
wait
day.
patiently.
Yeah. Just sit here waiting.
Yeah. Have you listened to Guess by Charlie XCX and Billy? Yeah.
Yes. Obsessed. That's a good one.
Yeah. It's a brat summer. This is my dream.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, what room do you think we were in today?
Maybe just the couch.
Yeah, I feel that way too.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Follow us on social media and on Patreon.
Let us know what characters were queer coded for you.
Yes, please.
I want to know. I want to know.
Please.
And what you think? What you think we were talking about? What do you think about what we were talking about?
Yeah. Or what do you think we were talking about? Because I don't know.
What do you think? Yeah, we kind of went a lot of different ways.
We did. Love it.
I'm proud of us.
Hell yeah. Okay. Well, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
And now back to the podcast.